Welcome into another edition of Conversations with Paul Brown. Today we're out at Anderson County's Environmental Services Division. Our guest is Samantha Porter. She's in charge of all of this. And we're going to come back and talk to her about something that's coming up that all of us can participate in. The basis for the Great Anderson County cleanup is what?
We want to make Anderson County as clean and pristine as possible, and obviously litter is an issue throughout the county. So the Great Anderson County Cleanup is an opportunity for residents to get involved. We give them all the supplies that they need to do so. All that we need is their work, and we just ask that they report their bags so that we can keep track of how much is actually being cleaned up throughout the county.
Organizations can get involved?
Most definitely. Anybody who would be willing to give us volunteers, we will gladly accept them.
Where do they pick up?
They are able to pick up in their community if they have a certain area that they want to pick up, but we also have a list of roads that the litter crews pick up on pretty regularly, and those are like our dirtiest roads throughout the county.
And the date is?
March 25th. We will be cleaning up here from 8 until noon, but you're encouraged to clean up anytime this month, and the people that need supplies up until the 25th or even past that point, all they need to do is give us a call, 260-1001, and we will get them set up with any supplies.
What are the supplies that they get?
We have litter grabbers, vests, gloves, and the trash bags. There's so many littered roads that are severely littered. I'm not talking about a few pieces of trash here and there. Severely littered roads, and those are the ones that are focused on first and foremost. And then when residents, if they complain about a road but are unable to pick it up, we also report that road in to our litter crews to add that to their list.
Years ago, when Anderson County got involved in Keep America Beautiful, the thinking was to get people like you into the school system and teach kids at an early age that littering is not acceptable. We don't want to do it. And yet it's been so long ago that those kids are now grown up, and you wonder if that method of trying to get people not to litter worked.
Right. I do think that works, because a lot of the kids that I speak to personally are terrified by the point that they might have to pay $1,000 for throwing something out of their car. And a lot of them focus more on how dangerous it is to wildlife. Also, not only teach them, but they would fuss at their parents for doing it as well. Same thing with the practice of recycling. If you explain the importance to a child, they take that home. I have had so many parents come to me and say, we started recycling after your presentation with my child, so thank you for that. We learned a valuable lesson. And I believe that that's the same thing with the littering.
The other thing that your enforcement officers do, sometimes somebody will dump a bunch of stuff and then they become detectives. Tell me how that works.
Yes, that we call those illegal dump sites, and that can range from furniture to several bags of trash, tires, you name it, they've seen it. And when there are bags of garbage, 9 times out of 10 there's some sort of identifying information in there, whether it be just a name or your actual physical address would be on that envelope, whatever it may be. And then they go and speak to that resident.
Do you remember how successful the county was last year on the day that they set aside?
I actually have a note over here. We had 527 volunteers, 1,843 bags were collected, and we picked up 463 tires. So I consider that a very successful cleanup. And last year for the year, we picked up 11,810 bags for the whole fiscal year. So those bag counts are a good thing. We always want to outdo that number, just because there's still so much litter on the road. Even after that bag count, you think, you really accomplished that, and then you still see this amount of litter on the road. So we still have to do the educating and discussing the uncovered loads and explaining the importance of doing that the right way. If they are on a county roadway, that is when Adopt a Spot comes into play, and we would give them the supplies just like we would any other group, a sign detailing that they have adopted this spot to give them that, recognition that they need from the community to know that this is why this road is clean, this business is doing their part. But even beyond businesses, just residents are able to do this as well. In Adopt a Spot, we have 59 active Adopt a Spot groups right now. And those groups range from school groups, clubs, community groups, churches, and just residents who live along that road and just want to do their part to pick it up. So Adopt a Spot is available for really anyone within the county. We've also worked with the city of Anderson. They have agreed to let us do Adopt a Spot on city roadways. We ask that they pick up 4 times a year. Quarterly would be ideal. And that is what we ask of them when they sign their agreement. Again, we do the signage, we give them all of the supplies, and just report your bags. That's really the important part, because if you pick it up and haul it off, that's great, but we want to know your bag count so that we can, 1, thank you for doing that, and 2, utilize that amount it to get grant funding. And that grant funding is what we buy some of our supplies with, so it keeps the whole cycle moving.
Our guest this morning is Samantha Porter with Anderson County's Environmental Services Division. We're going to continue chatting with her. It's almost like a calling that you feel called to try to make Anderson County a better place to live.
Right, and it takes that. I mean, you have to want to make a difference. Like I said, we have people call in on a daily basis. My road is so trashed. Can you send someone out here? Well, I understand if you're not able to pick up. Obviously, that makes sense. But if you're able and we give you all the supplies, do it. Help us out. It's your county too. And that's the mentality of a lot, is that it's not mine. I didn't do that. I shouldn't be punished by picking it up. But you have to look past that. You have to realize that it's not just your issue because it's on your road. That affects everyone. So to do your part makes a huge difference for Anderson County.
How are you involved with Keep America Beautiful? Do we still have that in Anderson County?
Yes, we sure do.
Talk about that.
I'm the Keep Anderson County Beautiful coordinator. We have a board of around 10 volunteers. We meet monthly. We are part of the shred days that we host. We do the Great Anderson County Cleanup, which again piggybacks on the Great American Cleanup through KAB National.
You talked about the Shred Day, which has always been popular. Have you got the dates coming up when we're going to have Shred Day?
We actually just had a Shred Day. So we will probably schedule one around sometime in the summertime. We usually try to do it quarterly. If nothing else, at least 2 times a year. So we've been having them at the balloon launch field across from the Civic Center. And that runs very smoothly. It's a long enough course that if there is a line, that it keeps it in a good straight line. And we've had a great turnout. We had 290 vehicles at our most recent one, and doubled the pounds that we shredded at previous events. So residents really do appreciate that opportunity. Because
your message in shredding is what to the residents of Anderson County?
Well, shredding is also recycled, so that's our recycling participation as well. And then they're able to dispose of their old documents in a very safe way. That is on-site shredding. They're not taking those materials somewhere else to shred them. They shred them on the trucks here, so that they are able to rest easy with the peace of mind that their stuff was shredded and that no one else will have access to their information. And they actually watch the truck take the shredding material up and shred it there. So I think that is a good peace of mind thing for residents, and we offer it free for residents too. So if they have a great deal of stuff to shred, this is a good opportunity for them to do that.
Where would that stuff on most occasions end up?
If it were not shredded, it would go to the landfill. So not only when I mentioned the recycling part, that's deterring that many pounds from going into our landfill.
Tell me again the particulars about what's coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
The date again
Okay. The Great Anderson County Cleanup will be on March 25th. We will be participating here from 8 a.m. until 12 noon. Groups are encouraged to participate at any time that they're able to, but that will be the day that we are pushing for the county. Again, we will supply litter grabbers, vests, gloves, and the trash bags. All that we ask in return is that you let us know how many bags you picked up. You can give us a call at 260-1001, report those bags, let us know how many volunteers you had and how many hours you guys worked, and we will use that to utilize grant funding, and it helps to show what our volunteers did through Anderson County. We want to know how many volunteers have participated, so reporting that information is very important to us.
Thank you very much. You've been delightful. Our guest has been Samantha Porter. We want to thank her for sharing her story with us and what we all can do to make Anderson County a better place to live and more beautiful. And we invite you to be back with us next week, same time, for our next edition of Conversations with Paul Brown. Until then, take care, everybody.